morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends. Welcome, pre-market here at SpartanTrading.com. Good to be back. Yeah, let's see what happens here. I think the market's doing fantastic, to be honest with you. You know, I mentioned it's a function of the pullback, the quality of the pullback, how shallow the pullback is. And that's exactly what we're starting to see. Thank you, Satrina. Anyways, let's do it. All right, here we are. So now we got the unemployment non-farm payroll, right, coming out tomorrow, right? It's going to be really fascinating. Okay, so the 2 million, production decline from OPEC plus was real, and the market wasn't quite on board with it. And now they're starting to get on board with it. Like I say, I'll be honest with you. I continue to maintain that there's going to be a divergence between the physical and the refiners and the miners. And I think that you can see is starting to play out. Okay. I think that continues for quite some time. And I'll go over a little bit why that is. It's a function of the elasticity, right? It basically was so extended, like, decades worth of an extension sort of thing. So on some of these names, okay. Overnight, AI Group Construction Index, better than expected. Foreign bond investment. Okay, stock investment, so not as big a decline. I want to tell you, balance of trade, worse than expected, but exports were positive, right? And imports were positive, but lower than expected. It's going to take probably 3 to 6 months for some sort of stability to come into some of this data where we get some sort of uptrend or downtrend going, right? So now we're just basically consolidation to figure out which way we go from here. And, there's still plenty of shocks that can happen to the system. Okay, so one of those shocks is happening, and we'll discuss that with the Swiss National Bank. Record loss for the first half of the year. Now, don't forget, that does have something to do with Credit Suisse, but don't forget, a lot of it also has to do with U.S. bond holdings, as well as U.S. equities. The Swiss National Bank is the largest central bank globally in terms of what they have in assets for U.S. stocks. The largest central bank globally in terms of the investment in U.S. stocks. All right, so we'll see how that plays out, right? What do we got here? Factories out of Germany worse than expected. I mean, this is nowhere near done, okay? Global construction PMI softer than expected as well. This was better than expected. So, I mean, like I said, we have a long way to go. Retail sales was better than expected, okay? And year over year was better than expected. So here's the challenge of job cuts, okay, much larger than expected, right? That's something to think about, right? Look, I've maintained this. We have gotten to a point where we're going to start to see the catch up in terms of some of these layoffs, et cetera, starting to hit the unemployment numbers, right? So we're going to see larger claims going through, right? We have to continue to look at hourly wages, which is so important for tomorrow, right? And historically, I cannot reiterate, I mean, unemployment should be closer to 6-8%. This is how it works if we are in a traditional recession. But everybody knows we're not in a traditional recession, so there you go, off you go. Yada, 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 yada. All right. We also have some auctions coming out. Natty gas stocks change. Let's see what happens with this. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm maintaining that I think we have a meaningful low in natty gas. I still think with crude, we're in a range. And I think that's going to be, can we get into the 90s potentially? But 93, 96 is a key fib, I mean, 95, maybe on the upside, on the extension. Look at this, Evans, Cook, Waller, whatever. All right, my friends, let's take a look. Nope, we already did that. All right, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Let's see what the calendar says today. I don't know. All right, so here we go. Constellations beat top and bottom. It didn't guide anywhere, so that's good. Conagra beat top and bottom, nice. ANGO missed top and bottom. And McCormick, this is an interesting one. It actually beat top and bottom. So, but I mean, the guidance is also what is really more important now. And if they didn't lower guidance, God bless. That's all I have to say. Okay. So this is it. And then we got Tilray tomorrow. And Levi's tomorrow, this after as well. All right, so this is what it looks like, the constant maturity treasury. Take a look at that. Doesn't go far back, but this tells you where we were with COVID, right? And where we are and where we were before COVID, right? That's what I call special. All right, so everybody has the same price target, right? You know, that 39.30, 4,000. All of the Elliott Wave peeps have the same thing. Robert Miner came out with it first. He shouted it out. So he's the top dude you want to follow on Twitter. He only posts maybe twice, 3 times a month, but they're very notable posts. He's been nailing the top, bottom, and all the way around sort of thing. So they're all looking for the same thing on a price target on the Elliott website. All right, now, this is actually free if you want to look in terms of, it's a very important piece, very well written. She works for Elliott Wave, okay? But Avi Gilbert tweeted it on his Twitter feed, and I really, really, really encourage you. She literally goes through the disruption that's going on right now, okay, with gold, currency, and bonds. And it's really fascinating stuff that she's looking at. Like here's memorandum items, custody holdings, both of the U.S. Treasuries, Wednesday, the 5th. Okay? So that held by for international accounts. We have to look at this. Okay, so the narrative is, for me at least, okay, one of the ways that central banks will intervene, and I've discussed this before, is they're going to sell U.S. bonds, capture the U.S. dollars, take those U.S. dollars, sell the U.S. dollars, and buy the local currency. This is central bank intervention 101. Second thing they're going to do is obviously what we saw with the Bank of England is what they did in terms of on the interest rate, buying bonds and on the interest rate side. Okay, well that's not, I'll be honest with you, that's a short term, that's not successful unless you do it continually, okay? Where are they going to get the money? There's only 2 places they're going to get the money. Okay, selling assets, okay? Well, one place, selling assets. What assets do they sell? They don't have the balance sheet to do it without selling assets. What are they going to sell? I'm telling you what I think they're going to sell. We'll see how it plays out. Okay. And they also talk, I mean, this is really seminal, and I really encourage you, especially you guys who are wonky like I am that like to read this sort of stuff. It really goes back nicely. Okay, so this goes back to 2004. Okay, you can see the volatility, liquidity. This is crazy shit. Okay, so this is what's going on. Now, this was COVID, right? This was the financial crisis for 2008. I continue to maintain this is worse than COVID, so you know the drill. All right, so what we have are upgrades, downgrades for 2022. Okay, so you can see here the downgrades increasing over the upgrades. This is investment grade. You can see here it was high yield that got downgrades, a lot of downgrades. Okay. This is 2020, 2019, this was 2021. I think it's just fascinating to see how these different levers play out. There's another one here. I have no idea what that is. Okay. Well, we know this to be true, right? Once again, this is the narrative, right? There has to be unemployment rate going up to at least 6 to 8%. Traditionally, it would be 8 to 10%, but we've got such a tight labor market. This is what I'm saying, maybe 5 to 7, something like that. There ain't no way in hell we're staying down here. Okay. German trade balance, I mean, this is stunning, right? I think it's stunning, right? And this just shows you the impact. Okay, so you can see gold over S&P, how gold is gaining against S&P. Credit Suisse's 5-year, this is insanity. I mean, that's all I can tell you. All right, here's Liz, and so we're getting more and more percentage of members above the 200-day moving average. So it's 22, 25, 26. There's all the way down here to 16. All right, so we're starting to see what we need to see in terms of the breadth of this market rally. Pins upgraded. Okay. Okie dokie, smoky. All right. Percentage section index members above the 200 days, so energy, obviously. You can see a lot of them are starting to pick up consumer staples, healthcare, right? Right. So you can see here top dog, and then we've got the 23, 26. Okay. And she's, all right, this is the story. This is the headline, friends. Swiss National Bank post record H1 loss, says no policy impact. Yeah, there's not going to be any policy impact, but guess what? Let's see. Central bank has biggest half half year and quarter loss since 1907. 1907. For those of you who are historical like I am, this is a big deal. Yoo-hoo! It's a big deal. Not, I mean, 100 billion US dollars. This is a big, big, big deal. Okay, like I say, if these central banks have to start selling these assets, US stocks, there's no way this market can, I mean, we can have these bear market rallies, right? But there's no way it's going anywhere. Because that's the headwind that they're dealing with these guys. They will sell these pops. I'm just saying, that's my personal opinion. And that's it. U.S. looks to ease Venezuela's sanctions, enabling Chevron. Go, go, go. You could, okay, so Twins, who's an ex-Marine, military man, this is one thing you don't do. Or at least if you leave your stuff, you destroy it so that nobody can use it. Twins, do you see this? This is crazy shit. I mean, look, I wanted to go into the military, but I couldn't because unfortunately I have in my health issues. But I mean, like seriously, watch, please. Okay, get a little bit of a pop here. Looks like it's going to pop the top, just so you know. I grabbed a little bit at $3, just so you know. I have a scanner that shows me, it's on that Trade Ideas. The scanner is see it before the breaking out. Okay. So let me post that for you guys. PLSC starter, and that's at $3 off. Scanner. So yeah, this is a big no-no. This is, you don't leave your equipment there unless you destroy it, and they didn't. All right, 500. I don't see how this company stays alive unless they're acquired. What the hell is this all about? But someone tell me what the hell this is all about. So, someone, please tell me what it's all about. I don't know. So there isn't. So that he wants 44, they want 52. So nothing's changed. So this is really interesting because medical schools are going to have to change where they are located because of this. I thought that was pretty fascinating. Where, and normally, what's fascinating about that, I mean, obviously, don't forget, students are students in states, basically, especially with their state medical schools and stuff like that. If they're losing talent, okay, there's going to be a drain of talent in those states. because they're not just, you know, they do a lot of things, these students, in terms of, anyways, here we go. You can make quiet quitting disappear for, I have no idea what that means. Nobel Prize is really not good luck. Okay, here we go. All right, so it's coming out tomorrow. Big screen, big betting, not as big price. So it looks like you got a good review. I don't know. I'll leave that up to Math. That's his thing. All right. 5 stocks to watch on Thursday. Peloton, Levi Strauss, Conagra, and more. When he's on tap, these tech titans are coming off 52 weeks. You know, that should not surprise anyone into earnings. Okay, that people take profits on their shorts on some of these names. It shouldn't. And that would be the catalyst, I suspect, correct, to get some of these names. I mean, continue this bear market rally. I don't know if it's sustainable, but make it pretty robust. Goldman Sachs upgrades, Compass jumps 13%. Twitter was high stakes poker as deal size continues. Ever. Okay. Here we go. Bond yields are coming back. What to buy now? All right, so this is really complicated, guys. All right, so I'll be honest with you. This is not in my wheelhouse, but Citrini and Twins, this is in their wheelhouse in terms of buying some of these assets. I did jump on board, and I mentioned that when Twins mentioned to me that he was basically buying that BSJO. It's a bullet share from Invesco. Okay, so I did follow him on that. Okay, so if Twins or Citrini shouts anything out on the bond side, I will follow them. Okay. So that's their wheelhouse, not mine. There you go. At 71.20, so 75 basis points. Okay, yippee. All right, let's take a peek. This is really fascinating, friends. So what I'm looking at right now is the new positions, highest premium paid. Okay, NVIDIA 2025, friends, 125, $5.8 million. Protection, snow, December. Okay, 175 puts, almost at the money. Protection, right? So pretty interesting protection came in yesterday, just so you know. Now on the other side, Apple did get, but you know what? All right, 2.5 million, but there's no wow factor here. Like if this was 2025, okay. So what I did notice yesterday, and I really want to share this with you, someone is accumulating Google out to 2025. I'm just telling you that someone is accumulating Google out to 2025. And with that, what are they accumulating? They are accumulating, what the hell? I'm the wrong account. What the hell? That's not what I want to see. They're basically accumulating which is really interesting, they're accumulating the 210 calls, okay? And what's happening is it's skewing my spread. That's why I know what's going on is because it's basically because they're buying the 210s, they're increasing the premium on that. So I have to basically, I'm jiggling around with that just so you know to maintain that spread so it goes up as opposed to down. Okay, just saying. All right, here we go. Hype. ConocoPhillips, Sun, SU, I love that company, XOM. So oil names continue. Once I cannot reiterate, and I pound the table, I continue to reiterate. As long as these companies, their forward PE multiple is single digits, and they will basically, the rule books are as follows. You always, 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 always pay your investor. You always, 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 always buybacks, pay your investor, special dividends. That is the rule book in commodity super cycles with oil. The greedy little bastards, they have only one loyalty, that is to themselves and to their investors. That's it. Okay, end of story. That's how it looks. That's why they'll keep buying. Okay. All right, what do we got? Up to date here. What do we got here? MATV, rocket in the pocket. I do not understand this rocket in the pocket. Okay, just don't understand it. NXTD as well. Kind of interesting, right? All right, let's see what's going on down here. All right. So Breeze did. This is also fascinating. Okay, different owners. Blase, sorry. BRZE, kind of interesting. All right, so insider sales, this is PRTA, KNB, this is all tied to our stock options, this is not. Okay? But I mean, you're talking $200,000. I mean, come on, seriously. All right, analysts, let's take a peek here. Take two. These are solid dudes from Goldman Sachs. Eric Sheridan, he's a 77% stud. Pay attention. I almost bought Take Two TTW over a couple weeks back, but I didn't. I didn't. Okay. And there's Steel Dynamics also, Emily. Go girl. 73% success rate. Is that not super cool? But look at the downgrades today. Pretty robust, right? So it's 3-to-1 downgrades, right? Okay. But here we go. All right, so that's Reliance Steel. Emily again, she's but a higher price. What the fuck? All right, I didn't say that. I take that back. I'm sorry. Joshua from UBS is a top stud, 30% down the NTR. And then we have some actually FICO. A lot of these equity residential stuff like that. Okay. Some of these are really pretty. I mean, look, I mean, if we were right 65% of the time, like, you know, we don't have to be right just because of our action plan, but that would be super cool, don't you think? All right, let's take a peek. That's the one I want to see. All right, this is what I want to see. Here we go. Silver, you know, I've been pounding the table on this and I've been accumulating silver, right? There's a reason why this is elasticity theory 101, gold, silver spread, okay? And this is a teachable moment for you. My students know I'm all bulked up on silver as well, as this is what I think is going to lead the charge. Gold will lag, but still go up, but it's going to be silver. It is an industrial metal, right? So anyways. Okay, what do we got? More green, look at this. Oh, well, energy, and then it's all green right there. This was sloppy choppy, was mainly red. Now it's kind of 50-50, right? Utilities, semis, financial. So this continues to be the narrative, right? We need to see these semis as the leader, financials as well. This is what we need to see in terms of follow through continuation. Okay. I just, you know, there's certain things, and Spartan looks at, Southbridge looks at, that I really want to see, okay, for continuation, right? We got a lot of stuff oversold again. Anyways, you know, we go neutral. All right, here we go, 10-day fine, 51. So energy, there you go. That's what it says, okay? And here you have IWM 20%, 24%. This is what they're talking about right here, okay? This is crazy, right? The strength there, right? Anyways, let's move on. Close, down, close, up, close, way up. This is positive. Oh, wait a minute, this isn't up to date though. Okay, down, down. Sorry, I apologize. Let me go back. It's probably the same for everybody, right? No, they did buy Qs yesterday. That's what happened with the spies. They came down. So what we're going to see is money flowing into the tech side, right? Down from XLY fund, and that's Tesla, right? Amazon, Tesla, top holders, right? XLE, some buying coming in. I mean, they are so low. That's going to be a catch-up trend. XLF, money coming out of, and here we say slight pop in XLP, and here you have XLP. Nice pop in the healthcare side. Okay. All right. All right, let's take a look at the COT. Okay, so we want to look at this as the dollar index, okay? So other reportables, okay, that are not, you know, these are top retail big guys, like we like to throw the wood around. They're increasing on the US dollar, their longs. Okay, the shorts, okay, on the US dollar, okay, cover a little bit, but still top, right? You can see how asset managers are way long, right? And they're actually doing very little. Now, that's not a lot, but it's something we still have to look at, continue to look at, right? Now, what I really want to see now is the Qs. Okay. So they are covering, okay, asset managers, institutions are increasing their shorts. Okay. And leveraged money, okay, is decreasing their shorts and going long. Now, these guys have been, you know, the vast majority, right, tend to be aggressive on the short side, right? Anyways, and then we get this non-reportable, yada, 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 yada. Right, let's take a look here at the bonds, right? Yield curve, well, this is the fact. This is going to be sloppy choppy. I mean, we're in a range, sloppy choppy inside that range. I don't see us breaking that range anytime soon. Okay. Here you see out of Germany, France, UK. UK rates are going higher nicely. Okay. And you see Australia up and well. This has a long way to go. US 5 is flagging. There's the 5-2. Like I say, I think we're going to be in this range for a while, but the reality is it's clear flagging until we break this downtrend line. Okay. All right, here's the 10-2. Triple bottom in that. That's important. If we snap that, oh I have to tell you, oh my goodness, okay. Here's the 530. I'm really not sure, to be honest with you, how far we go with this. It's already had a bounce of 71%. So I don't think we break this. Like I said, I think we consolidate for multiple months. It's like this narrative right here. Okay, that's what I think it's going to happen. And then either we pop the top or we break down. I mean, I don't know. So this was 6 months. This is month 2. Okay. Here's the Chinese. Still hasn't broken that downtrend line, guys, gals, buddies. And German rates. Let's take a look at the gilts too. Let me load that for you guys, gals, friends. Okay. And you can see here it held at 23.6%. There's no doubt in my mind this is going higher. They've been leading on the upside. They continue to do that. Dollar. Okay, that doesn't look so pretty. I'd still, like I said, I think this is a consolidation range, and I think the market will be happy with that. Chinese yuan, I think, is going to go up to 8. That's my new shout out for you guys. Bitcoin, who cares, right? All right, gold. Okay, all right. Lots of green here. Okay. For me, natty gas is up 5%. Just saying. Well, actually, this doesn't look right. It's not correct. All right, there we go. This is correct. So that was yesterday's. Everything was green, right? I guess. I don't know. Anyways, here we are. Gold's up, silver's up, more than gold. You know the drill on that. Copper, I'm in copper, I'm in nickel, yada, 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 yada. Zinc, I'm in aluminum, right? And you can see here crude is down slightly in natty gas. So this is a catch-up trade natty gas, okay? I don't think that, I literally, look, first off, okay? I'm just going to reiterate this. The United States government has to stop shipments of natty gas to China, has to stop them, have the companies redirected to Europe. Because all the Chinese are doing is they're taking that natty gas and they're selling it to the Russians. So please and thank you, stop it. This is where lack of insight comes. DBA is still holding up fine. Here's DBC holding up fine, reclaiming, starting to get its jiggy going on. Here's natty gas. Okay, so here we go. We have to pop this up. I think we do. Then I think we revert back to the mean, and then we'll take a look at it from there. Boyle, KOLD, we're at a major pivot. It is breaking that pivot. So I will add to my, I'll probably exit more of my KOLD, okay? Because it's reclaim this pivot. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Oh, I think I got a divvy pay, that's why. I wasn't sure what the hell that was. Remember how I told you on Tuesday, right? That someone was accumulating natty gas names? Remember I told you that? KOLD breaking down, so you're supposed to sell another, that 1625 was the pivot, so you should be selling another piece of that for those of you who follow me right here. Okay, so what I'm basically going to do right now is I'll have a very, very small piece on, and then I'll add back into that just in case the sky falls. You never know when the sky's going to fall, right? Okay. I guess a teeny tiny piece. And that's it. Okay. Let's see what else is going on here. USL, UNG, you can see crude is gaining, but we're going to fill this, we're filling this gap. I think this is going to come back in and curl up again. We'll see. I actually like natty gas right now more than crude, FYI. Here's this major downtrend, friends. This is no joke. Okay, this goes back quite a while. Okay, so this goes back to July, right? So keep an eye on that. XLE, still, you know, lots of resistance. Let's see if it holds this pivot and not. Then I'll probably buy some XLE puts, OIH. I think this has room to go. I've told you that before. I don't care about that. Here's gold crude. You can see here consolidation. What I want to see is reclaim this extension. See if it happens. If not, then we're going back down here, and that's a bullish narrative for crude. Here's gold, double bottom, whatever. Still mired in muck still. All right, let's take a look here. The reason why, what I want to look at right now is, and I want to go quickly to it, is I want to look at Tesla. Okay, all right, let's take a peek. All right, so Tesla basically bounced off of an extension that goes back to the COVID low. Right here. Okay. Actually, let me make that more accurate. There we go. Literally bounced off of that extension, multi-month, multi-year extension. Okay. As long as this holds, Tesla should be able, this is a very, very, very important pivot. If it breaks that, then Tesla's going down here to 207. I don't think it will right now. I think it's going to bounce, but just for shits and giggles. Okay. Look, Tesla was $30 off the splits, right? Just saying 500+%. Seriously, friends. Seriously, friends. Okay, so notable. You can see right here, right? Tesla basically, this is the top end, triple bottom top here. Now we've got this pivot that it broke. Now we have to see if it reclaims it. Now we have this uptrend extension. This is what I'm talking about, well-defined risk reward, friends. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. So what's going to happen here, JL? Okay, yes. What's going to happen is the US government is going to have to buy crude so that they can put it into the Strategic Defense Petroleum Reserve, and then they're going to give it out for free. That's what the US government's going to do. Tesla, XPEV, Tesla's actually still doing pretty well, and it's actually holding this quadrant, which is fascinating. Okay. And actually this quadrant is this quadrant, right? Okay. So this actually looks positive. So what does this mean? You can be long Tesla against XPEV. We'll see if it pops the top. If it does, okay. I'll have to reset all that. I'll leave it there. Okay. So, anyways, that's the story. Major breakout here of the mid, holding in the upper quadrant. So Tesla should start to rally. Tesla against Lee. This is actually fascinating. This is equal. So Tesla and Lee are equally strong. Okay, just so you know. I think that is notable. Okay. Here's Tesla NEO. So this also is, Tesla's been gaining against NEO, but I mean, it's still okay. Okay, it's got a lot of resistance here. The key is going to be, and this is really what's fascinating, Tesla didn't break this downtrend line, uptrend line, so that's pretty fascinating. So Tesla, believe it or not, against a lot of these names, okay, against the EV names, are still fine, okay, amongst its peers.
All right, Beth, ready to pop on whenever here. Alrighty, guys, morning. What's going on? So we did get a little bit of a pop here in the market. If you guys are new to the YouTube stream, thanks for watching. I forgot that we were doing it this morning, so I forgot to do the intro, but here we are. So anyways, guys, if you're new to the YouTube stream, thanks for watching. Right now, I'm going to be doing the individual names are gapping up, gapping down. We'll talk about those names associated with the gap up, gap downs in regards to the news, as well as go through the SPY, the FANG, VIX, Qs, and IWM. Then after South Beach will pop on, give you a little bit of an idea of the macro environment. And then you can obviously see what just, we just went over with Beth there. But if you guys are new to the chat, I'm going to go over the instructions in regards to where to look in the morning. But for short, if you guys are coming into the Discord server from the free server, leave the server first, then click the link, as well as go to the new to chat information section, scroll to the very, very top and give it a read from top down. And I will go through specifically after we close down the YouTube stream what to look at. All right, pre-market tickers on watch. What do we got going on today, guys? A couple different things. So we have some names gapping up, gapping down. Tesla gapping down and sitting with the market where it was. I think it should be up a little bit now. Still is gapping down sympathy, I guess. Costco not ready to cut prices as shipping commodity costs falls. So, prices are going to stay the same. They're going to make more money. Stock's continuing to hold its gains. It's gapping up. Lilly, sell the news type of event. They got FDA fast track approval for its obesity drug. TTWO, Goldman Sachs upgrades to buy from neutral. Price target 165 from 131. Pins, Goldman Sachs upgrades to buy from neutral, price target 31 from 24, and then Peggy gapping up and continued momentum. All right, let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. So first two we're going to be taking a look at, guys, is Tesla and Costco. So let's have a gander at those two. And I'm as well going to flip up this chart. Yes, sir. There we go. Sorry about, I got a little bit of a cough here, guys. There we go. So Tesla, Costco, let's take a look at Tesla here, guys. So obviously it's been selling off on the daily. A little bit of a downtrend that's intact here on the hourly. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Pivot to the downside is going to be 240.31. If that level is reclaimed, we got room back towards 256.31 to 266.32. Unable to hold 233.38 to 229.15 will be tested on the downside. Overall on Tesla, I'm actually leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation bounce higher if that pivot point can hold. So pivot point can hold. I think we're going to get a nice little push back to 247.36 to 256.31. So I'm looking for a reclaim of the pivot today, actually, for a little bit of a bounce. So we'll see what happens in that regard. Let's take a look at Costco here. So coming up off the lows, it is trying to do a bear flag reversal, aka break the bear flag range back to the upside, and which would be a bullish setup for a continued bounce to the upside. Doing a pretty good job of that, actually. Let's take a look at this thing intraday here. Okay, it looks pretty good. I'm going to label this low right here. And that should be good for us. Yes. Okay, so pivot to the upside today on this Costco, guys, 481.09. This level is able to hold room towards 47.18 to 491.89. This level is unable to hold. We look for pullback on Costco into the 475.57 to 470.26 on the downside. Overall, on Costco, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point is able to hold. So that is Costco and that is Tesla. Let's take a screenshot of these both and let's move on to the next. All right, Lilly and TTWO. All right, Lilly, guys, pivot to the downside today. Let's take a look at this. I think this is probably going to hold its range and then push back up. But let's get our levels real quick. I don't think we need to go higher than that. Let's take a look intraday. Uh, 328.13 pivot levels able to hold 331.63 to 334.48. Unable to hold 324.92 to 321.78 will be tested on the downside. Overall on Lilly, you're going to be leaning bearish. If that pivot point can't hold, we should see continuation So I'd be leaning bullish, looking for that pivot point to hold and a bounce back to the upside. I don't think it's, really going to get that much more of a sell off, but obviously, they did sell the news a little bit this morning. So that is something to be aware of. I guess it was slightly bought up the last day, but I think it's back to the range where it can hold and push back to the upside. All right, TTWO, let's take a gander at this one. So a nice little upgrade from Goldman Sachs above the 50 MA. Let's see where we got. Let's get that EMA resistance right there. Okay, that should be fine. Yep, perfect. So pivot to the upside today is going to be around 121.32. That level is able to hold 123.63. That level breaks. We see 125.68, unable to hold 118.43 to the 115.75 on the downside. Overall on TTWO, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side today, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point is able to hold. So pivot point able to hold, we should see a continuation push to the upside there. That is Lily. That is TTWO. All right, let's take a look at the next two. Pins and Peggy. Love Pins, one of my favorite cheaper tech names at the moment. Fun name to trade, really cheap options. It's funny, I had this on my side charts last day. 25 calls were like 18 cents. Should have just grabbed some. Too bad. Hindsight 2020, all right, guys. All right, let's take a look at what we got today. Oh, yeah, I love the setup off the lows. Look at that range break. Nice little curl too. Looks great. All right, so let's take a look at this thing intraday. Pivot 25.96 level holds 26.90. That level holds 28.18 will be tested. Unable to hold 23.97 to 23.99 on the downside. Overall on pins, leaning bullish, looking for a continuation grind higher. I guess bullish neutral, looking for a hold of the pivot and then a grind higher. I don't think it really goes higher than 27 today. It's usually a smaller range type of name. And but I do think it's got some nice room off the low. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at this Peggy. So Peggy gap up, where are we at? 435 is high, okay. Actually, that's a decent room. Okay, so pivot to the upside today, 412. That level holds 480 to 517. Unable to hold 355 to the 295 on the downside will be tested. Overall on Peggy right now, leaning bullish, neutral, looking for a continuation grind higher. This thing has had fantastic volume. It is day number 3. So typically, on average, you get a little bit of a pop and it starts to sell off after the morning open on these small cap names. Don't know if that's going to happen with this name just because the volume is so high, relatively speaking. But just have that in the back of your head. Watch the trend and keep an eye on the volume. If that starts to die down, I would think it's going to pull back a little bit. So that's pins. That's Peggy. All right, let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG. Okay. So market guys, what's going on here? So I talked about this last night, but I thought it was going to be range bound today again. So we had a nice little push back to the upside. We had confirmation of EMA support reclaim. This actually was a bearish candle on the daily that was put up at the end of the day, but still holding its support. I think it's going to be a consolidative type of range. But everything on the daily chart looks fine, in my opinion, from that regard. So when looking at the levels, we have 376.11 as our pivot. Level holds 378. That level breaks 380.56 will be tested. Unable to hold 373.93 on the downside. And if that level gets taken out, 368.99 on the downside will be tested. So overall on SPY, going to be leaning bullish, looking for a continuation, I guess bullish neutral, looking for a continuation grind back towards the top end of the range. We'll see if we're able to break through it today. And if we are, obviously get a little bit more of a push. Market's been really resilient lately, holding up fine. And I think, it is kind of sucking shorts in on these little dips. So see what happens in that regard, but it is bullish consolidation at the moment until this range breaks to the downside. That's the narrative I will stick with. All right, Apple. If you take a look at Apple on the daily, it doesn't look that great compared to the SPY or as good because it's still below EMA support, as well as this medium-term downtrends intact. If you take a look at right here, you'll be able to see it. Right. So we got some levels to get above, obviously. Pivot to the upside today will be 146, 53. Level holds 147.30 to 148.55 will be tested. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback towards 144.53. If that level breaks, we see further continuation lower to 142.47 on the downside. Overall on the Apple, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today. If that pivot is able to hold. So let's see Amazon here. $122.64 on Amazon, pivot to the upside today. Level holds 125.21 will be tested. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback on Amazon into the 118.81 to 115.44 on the downside. Overall on Amazon, leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point can hold. So that is Amazon. Let's take a look at Netflix. $239.15 pivot level holds. We got room back towards 246.65. Unable to hold 233.19 to 229.34 on the downside. Still got bullish consolidation on the daily. Relative strength compared to the market. It's been going on for quite some time. And I think we can get above the pivot today or retest it, and we'll see if we're able to break it for a continuation push. So that is Netflix. It seems to hold this range every single time it pulls, so that's great. Very strong support. Let's take a look at Meta. Don't love Meta, probably my least favorite FANG name. 139.34 pivot level holds 142.39 will be tested. Unable to hold 137.72 to 135.55 on the downside. I guess leaning bullish neutral because it is holding the range support right now on the daily. It is, did bear flag yesterday and then actually reversed that bear flag by reclaiming the uptrend support, and that's quite bullish. It's a head fake to the downside. So as long as the pivot can hold today, I would be leaning more on the bullish side for continuation higher, in my opinion. That's Meta. Let's take a look at Google. $138 pivot level holds. Room towards 101.88 to 103.11. Unable to hold 98.45 to 96.61. On the downside will be tested. Overall on Google, going to be leaning bullish neutral. Looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point is able to hold as well. That's Google. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. VIX 28.23 pivot to the downside today. Levels unable to hold 28.08 to 27.37 will be tested. Able to hold, we look for a pushback towards the 30.01 to 31.09 on the upside. Overall on VIX, not leaning any particular direction, but watching it for direction on the daily. Or on the SPY, that's how we use the VIX intraday. It is obviously, below EMA support on the daily. I'm not sure if the uptrend is broken. I actually gotta take a look at that. I think it is in short term. Yes, it is. Off the lows, it's obviously not. That's got room to the 50 EMA at the moment. Okay, so got room to test the 50 EMA. That could be a decent catalyst that could help push the market higher. Let's take a look at the Qs. So Qs, what do we got? Downtrend break on the daily above range support. Actually had a bullish engulfing candle yesterday, so that's more bullish than the actual market. Holding EMA support, all the short-term EMA support. It looks pretty good, actually. 282.64 pivot level holds, 288.44, 288.14 to 294.99 will be tested. Unable to hold 277.14 to 270.79 on the downside. Overall, on the Qs leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher today if that pivot point can hold. So it does look pretty good on the daily chart, and it's all going to be about that pivot today. Get back above the pivot holds. You can have some nice room for continuation. IWM, not as nice of a chart, but again, a bullish candle. Bullish piercing candle to the downside there. So that's nice. Okay. Do I not have levels in this? Weird. No, I don't. Okay. Well, let's draw them out. Oops.
Boy, but that's IWN, not M.
Oh, I was like, what the hell? Thank you, Beth.
I'm looking at these numbers and what the hell?
What am I doing? Yeah, I was like, where are my levels? What is going on? All right, so 174.97, guys, pivot to the upside today on IWM. Level holds 176.87 to 180.29. Unable to hold 171.29 to 168. 63 on the downside, leading bullish. We're looking for a continuation push higher. EMA supports holding, bullish piercing candle on the downside as well. So, I think it looks good for a continuation pop higher. We've seen a lot of money flowing into the small caps. They're actually leading to the upside the other 2 days. Not yesterday. That was more so kind of just more random kind of garbage tech and whatever else. But yeah, we'll see what happens in that regard. I am leaning bullish. Hold the pivot. We should see continuation higher on that. All right, we got a little bit of time here. We got actually 2 minutes, so I pass it to South Beach. So let's take a look at Microsoft real fast. And nice little chart off the lows. This can and probably will lead the QQQ today. 250.12 pivot level holds 254.06 to 256.52. Unable to hold 246.34 to 241.93 on the downside. I'd be leaning on the bullish neutral side of this name as well, looking for a continuation pop higher. So that would be the Microsoft. Let's take a look at NVIDIA as well. Let's throw up a Microsoft chart for you guys. Let's take a look at NVIDIA real quick as well. Oh, look at that off the low, bullish engulfing. And I told you yesterday, guys, I love the semiconductors for continuation today, and we're going to get it. 131.26 level holds, 134.69 to 137.51. Unable to hold, we look for a pullback to 126.16 to 123.13. Love the look. Bullish consolidation. And, we got a bullish engulfing candle above the EMA support range break to the upside, holding the inverted head and shoulders. All good stuff there. Now it's just about that pivot holding this morning, and we should get that next leg up. Keep an eye on AMD as well, guys, because I did get that news yesterday. It was a Morgan Stanley downgrade, right? I think it was Morgan Stanley. Doesn't really matter. It's one of the top tiers firms. So let me guess. Look, it was.
It wasn't a downgrade, Spartan. It was a reduction in price target from 130 to 90,
Yeah, that's what it was.
and it was Wells Fargo.
Yeah, Wells Fargo. I was just
I
looking.
mean, I don't think that's significant in my opinion, only because 130 seems a little bit.
No, yeah, we bought semiconductors on that hard yesterday. We made the right decision there. Swung some Nvidia. Anyways, yeah, we'll see what happens. And just keep an eye on it today, guys. Anyways, that's it. I'm gonna go and pass it over to South Beach, guys, and type up the pre-market action plan. Then we'll go from there. South Beach, if ready, all yours.
Hi guys, good morning. Okay, let's see what's going on this morning. Let's look at the bonds. 375, okay, down from a little over 4, right? So no big change there. 2 years at 415, so we got what, 2140 spread, okay, inversion, which is kind of in the 30-50 range that we've been looking at now for a pretty prolonged amount of time. So the bond market is not what's ruling the roost at the moment. What's ruling the roost at the moment seems to be when people see weakness in some numbers, okay? The whole narrative right now is, will the Fed pivot? Okay, that's everything. You could figure that one out. That'll take you to the promised land. Okay, that's what it's all about. So anyway, that's the spread. Okay, looking in Europe, Britain's 10-year is at 415 versus what on the 2-year 412. So basically flat. It appears as though this Truss woman who's running the show is completely devoid of economic knowledge, and the world doesn't like what they see. Okay, S&P downgraded Britain's debt yesterday. Today it was Fitch, I think. Okay, so I would say her days, and there's infighting in the, I think it's called the Tories, if I'm not mistaken, party. So I would say her days running the show over there are numbered. It's just a question of how fast can they get her out, and at what cost. Do they lose power to the other party? Do they not? What's going to be? The Tories have been in control for, if I'm not mistaken, you Brits can tell me better, but for quite a while. And the economists globally are saying this person is clueless. We'll see. And that's that. German rates are basically flat, 203. Okay, this is in light of the German government coming out just a bit ago saying they see inflation running 7.9% in 22, 8% in 23, and they see a recession in 2023. So we have 8% inflation, and we have a 2% 10-year. That ain't gonna last for too long, guys. Yeah, she just got put in, twins, but everything she's done has been ridiculed. And they are talking about when the next election is, and it's probably before 12 months out. That's the problem. Okay, so that's Germany. Real rates in Germany, obviously, at 2%, 8% inflation. Real rate is a -6%. So I understand why the Germans are doing what they're doing, okay, because prices are out of control there and so on. Energy and whatnot, and they're just trying to provide some relief. So I kind of get that. Hopefully it works out and they can get inflation down. I think a lot is predicated on how things with Russia play out. Italy, France, they all follow Germany, guys. Japanese 10 years at less than 25. So all these guys who are long, short the 10-year in Japan are having problems, not only in the, if they didn't hedge the currency, they really got problems, but so far that trade ain't working out too well. The Aussies, they got this rally started by raising what, 25 versus 50, and now they're 10 years at 381. Kind of very, their curve looks a lot similar to ours, only we have an inversion in the 210 and they have a credit of 0.6. Okay, and that's basically rates as we see them this morning. Commodity wise, oil is dead flat. Okay, we'll talk about oil in a minute. Natural gas has moved up a little bit in the last couple of days, but really insignificant, down from 9.5 to 7, so fairly decent move. And oil, we have that whole situation yesterday, right? When they cut production 2 million barrels. We'll talk about that in a minute. Copper, all these things are kind of in a trading range. Agricultural commodities in a trading range. Rice has come off their high just a tinge, which is very positive for global, economics, because rice probably is the defining product, factor in every diet, in most people's diets globally. Let's put it that way. All right, everything else is kind of in the trading range. Cotton way down, that broke down 160 to 83 or so. So that's commodities. Currency wise, dollars up against North America, up against the yen, flat against China, and the euro's 98, the pound is 112. So basically kind of hold in a holding pattern more or less after that, knee jerk down in Britain's pound over on Sunday night. But basically back from 103, I think it got down to 112, and we'll see what happens with that. As long as she's in control, I would say with these policies, I would think the pound will be under pressure. Okay, as far as the cryptos, flat today. All right, Bitcoin up, minimally. Ethereum 1%, Solana unchanged, and last but not least, the foreign markets. So we got the FTSE down 8.8%. DAX is dead flat. Over in Asia, we have the Nikkei up 0.7. China continues to be closed as they have their party Congress, and Hong Kong's down 0.5%. So that's the backdrop. Okay, so we got the banks and the Fed. We have four clowns speaking today. A lot of them took the day off yesterday, and the movie stars have to go back on set so they can tell their friends and family that they're famous and talk about bullshit for another day and waste everybody's time. So that's the banks and the Fed. We have China. They have that party Congress. I was reading something that said that the telltale will be when they walk out on stage. A lot of you are more up on this than I am, but how many, there's 6 of them, and he has to have 3, and it's what order they come in and whatever. So we'll get a read on how China sets up when this ends. She's a sure thing, but how the rest of the cabinet, I don't know the word they use. I think they call it Politburo like Russia does, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, we'll see how they come out. Russia. Okay, so fair amount going on with Russia this morning. A, they continue to get the shit kicked out of them in Ukraine. B, they continue to, wag that nuclear button, over the rest of the world. C, they're saying that they're going to cut oil 3 million barrels if those price ceilings stay in place. And we'll see what happens with that. What other turmoil can this guy cause? Let's see. I don't see much else out of him this morning except those things. But we did learn one thing, Russia's army's a fucking joke. Except they got nukes, and that changes everything, doesn't it, guys? Parliament, thanks, Spahady. Okay, so that's Russia. Crypto, nothing. Currency, nothing. Mr. Market. So everything's always, predicated on these numbers, right? We saw the futures were down a bunch, and then they came out with those jobless claims, which were lower than expectations. 219 versus 263. Continuing claims were a little softer as well. And the other day it was the jobs, the JOLTS number. So it's all predicated is trying to get the Fed to pivot. Australia did their numbers. We thought the Fed may pivot. These numbers are a little soft. I mean, what these numbers tell me with all the job openings we have, I think they said 10 million plus job openings. Another guy talked about it this morning, is David Walker, who's a real, who headed one of the economic offices for a while, and has been very vocal on the US debt situation. He says, and I think rightly so, the problem isn't the jobs. The problem is the people applying for the jobs aren't educated enough to get the jobs. So he is saying that the Fed should get rid of their dual mandate. And I kind of agree with, actually. The dual mandate, of course, is employment, right? And inflation. And employment is really predicated, as it appears, with all the job openings, on education. And so the Fed screwed things up pretty good by saying, well, we're not going to stop easing until we get the jobless rate, to nothing. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of the people, A, don't want to work because they were getting paid not to work, and B, are they don't have the qualifications to get the job. I mean, you remember back, Wells Fargo said, I'd love to hire people, but I can't find talent. And he got ridiculed for that. That's a problem. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out. Okay, so that's that. Let's talk about oil. I mean, I look at this oil situation, guys, and my blood boils at how inept our government is. Okay, he's pissed at the Saudis and OPEC for cutting production. When we don't take care of our allies, why should they worry about us? They're worried about themselves. If they're going to get what they can get, and if they can get a higher price, they're going to get a higher price. We don't control the narrative. Why don't we control the narrative? Because we've underinvested. Why have we underinvested? Because we think we can get from A to B, from a fossil fuel energy world to a green world by snapping our fingers. Let me give a little bit of a comparison. Let's say when the US was this little, young country and everybody was moving out west, we said the way to get out west, guys, is to build a railroad. Okay, so let's build a railroad, and it's dangerous and it's taxing and people dying on the way, and it's just a complete mess. So let's build a railroad. So we have this great idea of building a railroad to expand the country, and you say, you know what, we don't need the horses anymore, so let's shoot them all. Okay, we don't need these guys, we don't need the horses, the shit all over the place, let's just kill them all. Well, that's what we're doing. Okay, from get to point A to point B, you have to invest. It takes time, and in the meantime, you have to invest in what you have. All right, in semiconductors, they're trying to play catch up, right? Because they say, oh my God, if Taiwan gets controlled by China, we're really screwed. Well, what's the difference between semiconductors and oil? Guys, we're really screwed. Okay, there's no pipelines. We have as much gas as we can take. This green energy policy, according to Walker, the green energy policy of the progressives, I guess he means liberals, is taking us right down the toilet. All right, we've gone from 4 trillion in debt to 31 trillion in debt, and it ain't going to get any better. Okay, and you need to address this policy, and it's the fact that he says he's pissed off. You know what the Saudis are doing? They're laughing their ass off. You don't give a shit about Biden. First of all, he's probably not running. And second of all, the US, they don't care. They're worried about themselves. If they can get $100 a barrel, which Goldman raised their target to $110 a barrel by year end this morning, and 120 next year, okay? You have to invest. And you sit here and people think this is okay. It's not okay. We need energy independence, and we have the energy and everything to do it. We just don't have the infrastructure. And no one wants to give the private sector the investment tax credits to make investments, because they're worried that when things get okay, they're going to pull them and they're going to lose their ass. Who can blame them? It's not the oil company's problem. It's regulation, it's the government, and it's lack of foresight. Yeah, well, what's the difference? Kill all the horses. It's the same exact analogy, okay, whether you like it or not. Twitter, let's talk about Twitter. Okay, so the problem in Twitter is this, guys. Musk actually tried to pull a fast one. All right, he said, I'm going to sign, but in the little piece of paper down at the bottom, there was a little caption that said, he has contingent on debt financing. Okay, so he changed the terms from you have to buy the company to I'll buy the company at 54.20, provided I can get debt financing. Well, Apollo, the big private equity firm, was supposed to put up $1 billion, right? And they said no. And getting debt financing, the full boat that he's trying to get, probably ain't happened. So what he has to do is probably sell more Tesla. That's why Tesla's weak. Is a $6 billion shortfall at the moment, and that would require him selling $6 billion worth of Tesla. In the original agreement, there was no, contingency on debt financing. In the one he's trying to put through, he could just say, hey, I was willing to pay it. I just couldn't get the debt financing. So Twitter's going to turn down this deal, okay, and he's going to have to try again. That's why the stock acts heavy-ish. Okay, instead of trading at 54, it's trading at 50. All right, I wouldn't buy Twitter here. To make 4 points, I don't know. It's not for me. David Walker, I told you about. Truss, I told you about. Russia, we discussed. North Korea firing a bunch of missiles. They're doing what China's telling them to do, guys. And China's telling them to launch some missiles. That's been the case since God was a little boy. North Korea is their puppet. Jeremy Siegel, disturbed by the group think over at the Fed. Ford raised the price of the F-150 Lightning by 11%. What else is going on today? Individual stocks, I'm still long this. I've made 4 times my money so far in this, whatever the hell this little thing is called. I can't even see it. The $4 stock, whatever the hell it is. Where is it? Peggy, sorry. Little Peggy. Okay. The big thing today, guys, is this Shell oil missed. All right. They blamed it on chemicals and refining. So you may see these refining stocks and some of these chemical stocks like Dow and DuPont and Eastman Chemical and so on a little bit heavy. And you may see some of the big oil, big cap oil names, the integrateds, get hit a little bit, okay, because they're in the same businesses as Shell is. BP's down in sympathy. Shell was down, what, a bunch, 4 points or something like that, you think? 3 points. Okay, whatever. So that's that. What else we have? Numbers wise, Perry was good. RELL. Pins look good. Is it still up? Yes. That was an upgrade. STZ looks like they beat, but it's not up. Conagra looked like they beat, and it's up just a tinch. IGT got a 10-year contract. The guy who bought all those options the other day probably knew that, and he's probably a little disappointed that the stock, is it flat? Flat. Okay, and it looks like it's going to trade down. So maybe that was the catalyst that he saw coming. I can't say because I'm not him, but it would appear that that might be the case. All right. Tesla, I told you, there's probably going to be stock for sale because he needs to make up the shortfall. Peloton, they fired another 500 jobs and did another 500 jobs. They're reducing the size of this company as fast as they can, quite frankly. All right, so that's really that. Tomorrow we have what? Levi's tonight after the close, IDT, Tilray's tomorrow. Tilray could be the biggest piece of junk I know. Upgrades, you got Goldman upgrading TTWO and PINS, which I told you. Steel, they have a sell recommendation on that one. FCX was downgraded by BNP Paribas because they didn't hedge energy costs. So they don't like anything that didn't hedge energy costs. Ally Financial, a really good company, was downgraded by Raymond James. I love this stock, but I am not in it. I am looking to get in it, but I'm waiting for when I kind of think stocks are a better buy. NEO, everybody continues to like this stock and it continues to trade terribly. Target of 40 at Mizuho. Is there anything else? A couple of syndicate deals, none of which we really give a damn about. Kathy, we don't really give a damn about her either. She bought a little more DNA. I hate to be long-winded on this, on the administration's oil policy, but you know, I don't mean to offend anybody, but the facts are the facts, okay? And it's disturbing, especially when they cry about it and blame everybody but themselves. And now they want to get into bed with Venezuela, which is kind of laughable also. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to pass it on to Spartan, and let's have a good day, guys. It's all yours, man.
Alrighty, guys, what's going on? Let me just stop. One sec. I'm just trying to help someone get in. There we go. There we go. Hopefully that they can figure it out. Okay, so you guys are new to chat. Have already done so? Make sure you click on that Discord link that's emailed to you. Pop into Discord. It's going to look something a little like this. Come in from the free Discord. You got to right click, leave the server first, then click the Discord link that we did send you via email. Otherwise, you won't be assigned the new roles. So you can see all the alert channels in chat. Obviously, that's important. Continue to scroll up. You got new to chat information section. You got the disclaimer here, summary of how the chat works. Below that, as well as this risk reward section. Make sure to go through everything, guys. Risk reward, most important thing in trading, would not trade unless I fully understood how to apply this, and we're applying it. Apply it on paper first, then flip to real money. But you have a video here explaining how risk reward works. Risk reward profiles on top, which match your risk reward threshold as well as your account size. Then you have the risk reward calculator, which you can use in conjunction with the risk reward to calculate risk reward on the go very quickly. Continue to scroll on the options and equity side. Continue to scroll down, starting how this chat works, breaks down all the channels working a lot on the options and equity side. Below this, we have the how to read alerts on the options and equity side, fairly straightforward in that regard. Options rules that we use Monday to Thursday right here. Below this, we have the annual small account less than 10K breaking down. If you do a smaller account less than 10K, here's some rules, information, discipline you can put in place. You can better manage your account. How to pick trades from an options equity perspective below that. And lastly, high conviction small account trades. Having issues following trades, well, you can just click on that section, follow the trades in there, only 1 or 2 a day. Makes things very easy for you. Pre-market tickers on watch, everything's posted there. If you guys are watching the YouTube stream, you can just pause it and give these sections a read here. There's the action plan. For each name, you can see all the charts are posted that we did this morning. And here's the news associated with those gap up, gap downs. If you look at the options section, you can see the exact same thing, except what the option strikes to make sense to be looking at. Okay, all right, let's take a look at what we got going on today, guys. Pre-market tickers on watch. A couple different things. Tesla gapping down, see if we do the market. I guess now it's kind of gapping, or was gapping up a little bit. Costco not ready to cut prices as shipping commodities cost fails, gapping up. Lilly gapping down on FDA fast track status to treat obesity, sell the news type of event there, I think. TTWO, Goldman Sachs upgrades to buy from neutral price target 165 or 131. Pins, Goldman Sachs upgrades to buy from neutral price target 131 from target 31 from 24. And then Peggy gapping up continued momentum. Let's take a look at these names from a technical standpoint intraday. First two, Tesla, Costco. Let's have a gander. Tesla, guys, pivot to the upside today is going to be the 240.31 spot level holds, 247.36 to 256.31. Unable to hold 233.38 to 229.15 on the downside will be tested. Overall on Tesla, going to be leaning bullish neutral, looking for a continuation push higher if that pivot point's able to hold. Costco pivot upside today is going to be the 241, it's not 241, 481.09 pivot holds, 47.18 to 491.89. Unable to hold 475.57 to 470.26 downside, leaning bullish neutral on that name as well. Let's take a look at Lilly. Let's take a look at TTWO. TTWO, Lilly. Lilly, 328.13 pivot, unable to hold 324.92 to 321.78, able to hold 331.63 to 334.48 on the upside. Overall on Lilly, going to be leaning on the bullish neutral side. If we can get a reclaim of that pivot point today, which I do believe we will. TTWO pivot to the upside today is going to be 121.22. Level holds 123.63 to 125.68 will be tested. Unable to hold 118.43 to 115.75 on the downside, leading bullish neutral there as well. Let's take a look at Pins and Peggy. Pins pivot upside today is going to be the 25.96 level holds 26.99 to 28.13, unable to hold 24.97 to 23.99 on the downside, leading bullish neutral there. Looking for a continuation grind higher. Want to see that $27 level tested. Peggy 412 pivot level holds 480. That level breaks. We got room towards the $5.17 area. Unable to hold 355, 297 downside, leading bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at the SPY and the FANG, my friends. Okay, so SPY curling back to the upside, holding the range, all that good stuff. Great. 376. Whoa. 376.10 pivots to the upside today. This level holds room higher into the 378 resistance. Breaks. We see the 380.56 tested. Pivot unable to hold. Room lower into the 373. Through support. Breaks. We see the 371.83 tested. Leading bullish neutral on the market. So, well, looks pretty decent, guys. We'll see what happens in that regard. But I'm thinking we can get a continued push to the upside back within this range to the top of the range. And, after that occurs, we probably will stay range bound today. I think it's going to be similar day to yesterday, maybe a little bit tighter, a little bit less range. Hopefully we get as much direction because obviously yesterday's trading was fantastic. So we'll see what happens in that regard. But that's that. Okay, let's take a look at Apple and the rest of the FANG. Apple. 146.53 level holds, 147.30 to 148.55 will be tested. Unable to hold 144.53 to 142.47 downside. Leaning bullish neutral there. Let's take a look at Amazon. Pivot to the upside today, 122.64 level holds, 125.21. Unable to hold 118.81 to 115.14 on the downside. Leaning bullish neutral there as well. Let's take a look at Netflix. Pivot upside today. It's going to be 239.15 level holds, 246.95, unable to hold 233.19 to 229.34 on the downside, leaning on the more so bearish neutral side of Netflix today. Let's take a look at, bullish neutral side of Netflix today. Let's take a look at Google. Google pivot upside today is going to be the pivot 138 level holds, 101.88 to 103.11, unable to hold 98.45 to 96.61. Let's take a look at the VIX, Qs, and IWM. VIX, guys, pivot is going to be the 28.83 level holds, 30.01, 31.09, unable to hold 28.08, 27.37 downside, not leaning any particular direction, but using it for direction on the market. So keep an eye on the VXX today and the VIX. Qs 282.64 level holds, 288.14 to 294.99 will be tested. Unable to hold 277.14 to the 270.79 on the downside, and leaning bullish neutral there as well. Last but not least, guys, IWM. Pivot upside today is going to be the 174.97 level holds, 176.87 to 180.29, unable to hold 171.29, 168.63, and leaning bullish neutral there as well. So guys, that's SPY, that's the FANG. Those are the individual names that we're looking at today. We'll see what happens. Should be an interesting one. If you guys join us on the YouTube stream, thanks for coming to watch. And yeah, we do this every single, typically Wednesday. We just pushed it today just because the mods are out. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. And if you guys